it's so good to see you today. Well, today is Sunday, and I am going to make this video real quick before I run off to church today. Um, over the weekend, oh, forgive me, I am Melissa. So, welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining with me today. Today, I'm talking about spiritual numbness. I've made lots of videos sharing my experience in grief and how I feel in grief. And now I've just been kind of lately talking about the spiritual impact of my grief. And we're spiritual beings, and I think, my last video I was talking about spiritual searching. And I was also thinking about spiritual numbness, like I feel dead inside. The death of Noah and Sophia has left me, especially those first year and a half, very spiritually dead inside, like a numbness feeling. There was just an empty place inside of me where my heart was once. That's kind of a good way to describe it, and everything good seems far away. Can anyone relate to that feeling in grief, heavy grief, the death of a child? And we lost two, the murder of our two youngest children. I feel dead inside. I do. And I think that that's a pretty natural and common feeling for parents in grief. Deep loss produces spiritual numbness. I just don't know. I just don't see how it doesn't. At least in our experience, it did. Oh, forgive me looking down again, guys. I have my notes. For those of you that have been watching my videos, you already get the deal. If anyone's new for me today, it's a lot of the up and down looking. I call it grief brain, and I've heard others describe it as grief brain too. So, the brain has changed. When you have to bury your children, the brain is not the same anymore. And it's weird because you're actually conscious of it. Like I get it. I see and know that my brain is different. Just like I know that there's something spiritually different within inside of me. And some days I feel like I can try to explain it to my husband, and then other days not, or close friends. It's just a lot of numbness and fatigue spiritually, just trying to make sense of what appears to be a senseless situation. So it is spiritually exhausting. It is. Our spirits get exhausted. Our bodies and minds get exhausted. And newsflash, so do our spirits. I think, as I observe people, it seems like all of us have faith of some kind, even if it's not a clearly defined faith, like the religions, like some people will be like, oh, I'm a Christian, or, I'm a Baptist, but it just seems like we all have some kind of faith. We all believe something about ourselves, the life, the world, God, the spiritual realm, and heaven and hell. So in tough times, most of us either lean very heavily on our faith, or we begin to question it, or both. And that's how I felt for me. It was both. There were moments in the day, the same 24-hour period, that I leaned heavily on my faith. And then within that, even that same day, I'm questioning in it. So that's how it's been for me, back and forth. The death of Noah and Sophia, it just raised very deep questions that I'm searching for answers for, and yeah. And if you probably can't tell by my videos, my emotions are complicated. They're frustrating, and there's a lot of them, various kinds, lots of them. It's like one video I feel one way, and another video I'm saying another way. Some videos I'm repeating myself. It's grief. It's grief. You know, I experience overwhelm and overwhelmness within my spirit. And then it's like spiritual fatigue just sets in for me. So sometimes, you know, like the first 2 years, especially before the pandemic hit, Noah and Sophia were killed in 2017. So the first 2 years between 2017 and 2018 into 2019, we would actually, you know, we were still doing our normal church activities. Well, I guess what I mean by that is attending church. You know, we weren't serving and those kinds of things. But we were still going, you know, and still praying and still talking to people and worshiping and things like that. But it was like, I just still felt so numb inside still through that whole process, you know, just like going through the motions. I think the shock of Noah and Sophia being murdered by their own brother, it's like it just made this numbness within inside of myself, you know, and so you just kind of find yourself, you know, just kind of going along with the motions of what you used to do. But it's so numb. It's so numb, you know, and then I found myself, I reached a point where I was just distancing myself from them, you know, just distancing myself from the church family. The pandemic became a great excuse to do so. And yeah, became spiritually numb, you know, and like with the rest of life, I found myself just going, like I just said, going through the spiritual motions and feeling little to nothing, you know, and what was once very powerful for me and meaningful, my faith, seemed very dull and drab and empty. Yeah. Yeah. We become spiritually numb in grief. We do. We do. It's not necessarily negative though, you know, it's just a natural result. You know, a natural result of having our heart shattered, you know, and experiencing grief overload over a long period of time, you know. Sometimes I feel like spiritual numbness can protect us, you know. It provides a much needed break from this intense emotional assault, you know. It's like we're being assaulted, you know. And so, yeah, it's just a much needed break. And the numbness it's also a valuable spiritual rest stop along this grief highway that we're in. You know, it is too much to experience everything at once. And even in grief, when we bury our children, it's too much to experience it all at once. It's just too much. So I guess, praise the Lord, it's in doses, huh? And some things just become numb for us because it does. You know, for most of us, it's a temporary state, but you know, like we pause there for a while, and then we re-engage when we're ready, you know. And now I feel like I'm in a season where I feel like I want to go back to church now. You know, I want to be back into fellowship, and, you know, the watching services online served its purpose at its time, you know, but I feel a stirring within my heart to be back around other people. So we'll see how this goes. Right? Let's see. You know, spiritual numbness, it can be frightening though, and unnerving. It was for me at times, you know, especially because you think, you know, or you feel confident in your faith walk, you know, and then with the death of a child, shatters a lot of your faith, brings a lot of your faith into question, you know, so it can be unnerving, nerve-wracking, actually, nerve-wracking, you know, so, but I just feel like it's a natural part of the grieving process, you know, it's a natural part. And the spiritual numbness, hopefully this too shall pass. you know, hopefully this too shall pass, you know. Losing Noah and Sophia, it's spiritually exhausting. Losing my mother is spiritually exhausting. She was a spiritual rock for me in the flesh. Yeah, you know, I definitely went to my mother for all kinds of my faith questions and emotions, and yeah, I really miss her. So it seems like something inside of me is saying, well, I can honor Noah and Sophia and my mom by taking my heart seriously. So that's what I'd like to say to you. You know, I believe we can honor our children. You can honor your child that has died by taking your heart seriously. Have you experienced any spiritual numbness since the death of your child or children? God forbid, like us, more than one. Bury one child is horrific enough. To have to do more than one at the exact same time? Wow. How did you respond to being spiritually numb? What seemed to help and what didn't seem to help? I'm still figuring a lot of that out myself too. You know, spiritual fatigue and numbness, they're just common for those who've lost a child, you know. It's just common. So there's nothing wrong with us for going through spiritual numbness. You know, and I definitely experienced spiritual numbness even regard to Malik in prison. A 96-year prison sentence. Yeah, there's some spiritual numbness wrapped up in that relationship with him too, you know. So I just want to desperately hold on to my faith, my memories for sure. This is the worst thing I'll ever go through. This is. To pick out a coffin, to bury my children, to look at them dead, to not have them in my home anymore and in my life anymore. That is the worst thing I'll ever go through. It's the worst thing you'll ever go through. So yeah, so we got to remember our big fours, friends. Breathe, talk, pray, write. I really hope my videos bring encouragement to you or anyone you know in your life who is a grieving parent. I do want to hear from you. Please, you know, leave me a comment. My email's in my bio. If you'd rather do it more privately, you know, share your thoughts and feelings with me as well. Well, friends, thank you for allowing me to share my heart with you and my experience with you for a little bit here, all in a condensed form. Well, God bless you, brothers and sisters, and be well today. And I will see you on the next video.